Hey, good morning everybody. This is Lumicode and today we will play Night Call. So I'm just gonna lower the music because it's quite loud actually. Maybe only the music. Yeah, that's fine. For the video, it's fine. Language English, text auto speed normal perfect. And yeah, we're gonna make a. I just started a new save to see if it was running. It's fine. So let's go. Okay, so we have to choose one of the three missions. The Judge, the Angel of Death, or the Sandman. So the victims have all something in common and the motives seems clear. But which suspect could have done it? Balanced case, perfect for a first run. I guess we can go for that one. Choose the difficulty mode, story, balanced or hard. The way Night Call was designed. Let's do it the way it was designed. Is the sound okay, by the way? Okay, so a cool little trailer we got there. I'm just gonna make some shortcuts so I can switch easily. Well, fuck it, fuck shortcuts. You're gonna have to see my face, I'm sorry. Here. Sir, can you hear me? Or do I need to speak up? I'm not sure I understand. I just want you to be comfortable. You can always change your mind. The voice is female, husky and worn. You find it deeply comforting. Do you want me to speak in the normal, medium, or loud voice? It's fine like that. She takes a deep breath. Sir, you just spent 2 weeks in a coma. The word bounces around your head. You need a moment to understand its meaning. Coma? The word scratches along your throat. Yes, you were the victim of an assault. The word resonates in your head. Victim. You are aware a serial killer is currently on the loose in Paris. You feel the contents of your stomach crawling up your throat. The judge, as the police call the killer, assaulted you. The bullet touched your liver and, in most circumstances, it would have been fatal. We chose to put you in an induced Her voice becomes more distant and fades. You taste Bill in the back of your mouth. Your head is burning. You hear a whistle in one ear. Your fingers move to your wound. Underneath the bandages, you can feel hard skin. It is incredibly painful. Did they... I'm sorry? Did they catch the judge? No. What about my passenger? He was dead before you even got out of your cab. The doctor is silent for a second. A very awkward second. She hesitates. The police would like to see you as soon as possible to ask you some questions. After all, you're the only one who survived the judge. Noise in the hallway attracts your attention. You try to turn your head, to no avail. You need rest. She leaves the room. Her voice resonates in the hallway. I don't care. He's the only witness. He's... Another female voice joins in, a strong, authoritarian voice. You can clearly make up what she's saying. A strange feeling washes over you. It's not pain, not fatigue. Some odd combination of the two. Before being in the hospital room, you'd never realized that hunger was made up of a combination of pain and exhaustion. Anger. A feeling you know all too well. Days go by and a month later. Night 1. So it's apparently... Oh shit, dialogue. Well, look, I've got a bit of a problem. A real problem, that is. You have a pounding headache. It's your first night behind the wheel since the attack. Are you listening to me? You catch your boss's eye in the rearview mirror. Yeah. He stares at you for a second or two without speaking. Something I wonder what goes on inside your head. You always seem so far away. Valfie, merci pour le host. I'm listening. Okay. He's watching you closely, trying to make out what's going on in your head. You know I'm worried about you, don't you? I know. You're like a son to me, you know. I know. And you know he's about to tell you the story of his taxi fleet again. When my father died. Il a une 8 en sidération. C'est mieux comme ça? Pardon. Non, ça devrait être mieux du coup. Peut-être un peu plus. Non, je suis au minimum. Comment ça va? Deux secondes. J'ai aucun gain activé. Ah ok. Bonne chance au boulot du coup. Et merci pour le host encore une fois. When my father died and left me the store, I could have sold it. I could have retired, gone back to the whole country. I let him go. But I decided to start the cab fleet with the money he left me, to hire the guys from the neighborhood. And that's why I've got 45 guys like you working for me. His hand fluttered in the air. None of them are any match for you. He smiles. His voice suddenly takes a serious note. Do you want me to go over everything again? He points at the equipment on the dashboard, the meter, the GPS. You haven't been in a taxi for weeks. Maybe you do need a little refresher. No, I'm fine, don't bother. Your boss seems a little embarrassed. It'll just take a minute. It will make me feel better. Alright, fine. Right then. Well, first them up. You spot potential customers and try to guess where they'll be going. Then you decide. When a customer orders a taxi, if there is no one else around, you have to go pick them up. He shrugs. That's the way it goes. It's business. No problem. The other fares, you look at the map and decide whether it's or not you want to take them. And then you drive. He flashes a quick, mechanical smile. You know it well. When he talks about work, he talks about work. That's all. When your shift is over, we do the numbers and... His voice trails off, as if searching for the right word. And that's all. That's pretty simple. There's no reason...
Sigurd of the Knights of Katarina, fight by your side!
No numbers? The numbers. Oh, there is no reason why you can't do it. Thank you, Denchafe, for the resub of 7 months. Thank you. Sadly, it doesn't say the numbers, but... I think you have to give some spaces on the numbers, because the number is too big to say it in one go, so maybe if you space it up, like 1 space, 2 space, 3 space, 4, maybe that's the reason, I don't know. Alright, no overtime. We're in France here, and there are rules, regulations. You might not see it that way, but no one likes having a driver who hasn't slept for 24 hours. He looks away. Something's been bothering him since he got into the cab. Anyhow, you know the ropes. You get it. I hope you're going to do a good job. What's the matter? Your boss keeps quiet for a while, as if he's hesitant to speak, and then... I don't think it's a good idea. You shouldn't be driving. The murderer's still out there, and we think he's going to come back for you. We? Your colleagues. I do, too. Anyway, I'll let you get back to work. Every minute spent in your taxi is a minute lost. He gives you a smile, half ironic, half serious. Good night. No, you can count on me. He scratches at the invisible stain on the armrest. Yeah, I know, that's a problem. He smiles. Your boss opens the door and exits the cab. You watch him cross the street and enter the fleet garage. A couple of colleagues are milling around about. Taxis are coming and going. They all ignore you, consciously or unconsciously. You are branded. You sit there a moment, then turn the key in the ignition. The hum of the engine sends a tingle down your spine. It's impossible to describe how you missed that feeling. It's back to the night shift, back to life. Despite the attack. Despite it all. Okay, so now we have to choose some dude to drive. So that's our fuel, and that's the time, right? And that's what we have as money. What is he suggesting me? Oh, I cannot see directly what he wants. 3.7 kilometers. Yeah, let's go. You double park and wait for the next passenger to slide into the back seat. He looks at you like he appreciates you and your taxi. He gives you his address. You start driving. Your passenger doesn't make a sound for the next few minutes of your trip. It doesn't bother you. You have enough on your mind. You're overcome with the craving to smoke. You nod slowly and glance at your passenger. Calm and still, he seems far away. Everything okay? Yeah, thank you. He slowly turns his head towards you and gives you an odd look, like he's disappointed you're talking to him. He watches you closely for another minute and turns back to look out the window. You keep your eyes on the road. The silence becomes heavy. All of a sudden, you feel a strange sense of camaraderie with your passenger. You look at him quickly in the rear mirror. He doesn't look familiar at all, and yet it's like you know him. A second later, an outside light shines on his face at a weird angle. It looks like he's smiling. A few seconds later, you drive down his street. He straightens up a bit. You park in front of the number he gave you. He pays his fare without a word. The door opens slowly and he smiles at you. You can tell it comes from the bottom of his heart, despite how uptight he is. You're really a swell guy. You weren't expecting that. By the time you collect your throat, your passenger is already far away. He disappears into a building. A moment goes by before you turn the key in the ignition. Nice, we got a tip. Money, money, money. I need to drink my coffee, otherwise it's gonna be cold and disgustingly. Ugh. Ooh, it looks angry. Maybe I don't know, it's quite far away. Let's go to I think it's Place de la Bastille, I'm not sure. Hey Raymond, welcome there. Christophe Fleurien. I need to go to Faubourg Saint-Honoré. 6.7 kilometers. 17 euros of fare. Yeah, let's do it. How are you doing, Raymond? The next passenger getting in your cab has a surprisingly calming presence. He gently closes his door and gives you an address on the other side of the city. You start driving. Lulu! Hi, Lulu. How are you doing, Lulu? Hope you're doing well, Lulu. I'm good, thank you. I'm discovering a new game called Night Call, and it's very cool, very calming. Thank you. It's actually very shitty because I don't take care of it, but I need to trim it and stuff like that. You sense your passenger wants to talk about the killer. It's simple. Since the first murder, everyone thinks they know something. Everyone thinks they saw something. And this passenger is no exception. New clue available in your room. Rather chilly out, isn't it? His voice is warm and deep. Finally, you notice his white collar. You're not too cold? No, I'm alright. You've got a lot of grit to want to drive in this kind of weather. The holy water font froze yesterday. We had to pour boiling water over it to break the ice. He pauses for a moment. He looks at the car, the seats, the windows. It's funny. I'd never made the connection before today, but a taxi is kind of like a confessional. A small box removed from the world, where two people can converse without the risk of being interrupted. He waits. You look at him in the rearview mirror. Do people blabber on about their lives? Sometimes. He looks outside and continues and continues speaking softly. I was sure of it. His face lights up. Why, yes, I'm doing exactly what the parishioners do when they come for confession. They start with small talk, the weather, their grandson, granddaughter, niece, their dog. Then they finally get around to what really matters. They share lies, trickery, stinginess. He sighed. I've been listening to people's confessions for over 15 years and it's funny, but no one has ever told me anything really serious. He's waiting to see how you react. No crimes? A slight smile on his face. There have been things that are hard on a personal level, but never anything illegal. Yeah, it really looks cool. We just started it, by the way, so it's a discovery still. It's just that the people I hear in confession have so much to say. Of course, we all have things that we are ashamed of. Freud clearly understood the importance of the confession booth. He made it into something more modern, more attractive and less punitive. He poses. Before going to seminary, I never doubted my calling, but since... He leans in closer, his voice is now lower and softer. Since then, I have a clearer understanding of the world. I can connect religions, schools of truth, IDs. And living in a country that is less and less religious, it's hard not to start wondering. Your passenger makes a sound, like a cork popping from a wine bottle. I have something I want to tell you. It doesn't bother me that people stop believing or believe in something else. Why our faith more than another? He struggles to find his words. What bothers me is that I'm not bothered by it. It's like I've already accepted it. He looks outside. Is there such a thing as driver-passenger confidentiality? He pauses, then bursts out laughing. I'm kidding, but I do wonder what people talk to you about. How would you feel about swapping stories? Sure. Really? I didn't think... He smiles. Nothing leaves this car, right? You nod. Who first? Me. That's not such a nice story. It's a story that haunts you. You think about it regularly. And not only because of everything that followed. The night of the terrorist attack, the other drivers and I were helping people get home. We drove around, waved to people to get in, telling them it was okay, that everything was going to be alright. It was chaos. They all wanted to get home to their loved ones who weren't answering their phones. The slightest odd noise made them jump. Anyway, a woman and her husband got in the car. She wore a headscarf. He was glued to his phone. They gave me an address and we drove towards Rue de Rivoli. The radio was announcing the first estimations of the numbers of death. We started crying. She looked at me, stared at me in the rear view mirrors, and she wanted to read my mind. It's a very cool story though. We'd almost arrived when he told her to take her scarf off, that it will be easier for everyone that way. She refused. He raised his voice. She continued to stare at me and at the mirror. A car speeds in front of you. You stop talking. Oh, reckless. You glance at the mirror, the green light, your rearview mirror. It's terrible because with those kind of story games, it makes me speak a lot in English, and I can't stop hearing a bad accent that I'm doing. It's terrible. I don't like it. Like, there's a lot of words that I don't know how to say. Well, in the back seat, your passenger leaned slightly forward. And what did you do? I nodded, insinuating that she was right, that it would all come down to that. She kept her headscarf on. I pulled over in front of the building. She got out first, walked toward the building without waiting for him. He paid me, lowered his eyes. He takes a second to process the story. He holds your gaze, his hands clasped. Impressive, very impressive. You're saying we should remain proud of and faithful in our convictions. You nod. The passenger smiles, but sometimes something is not quite right, as if the smile were forced. My turn now, I suppose. Thank you. There was this old man whose wife died very young. Since she was an avid church-goer, he continued to come every Sunday morning. He clarifies. You should know that it's rare to see men alone at church. There are couples, lot of old ladies, mothers, young women. Church is not very manly, unfortunately. But anyway, he came. One day, he asked me to take his confession. We sat down. A long moment of silence went by. I usually let them get acclimated to the muffled sounds coming from outside the booth, especially if it's their first time. And there, he tells me that he's in love with someone, but doesn't dare betray his deceased wife. She was everything to him, you see. His son, his oxygen. For the last 20 years, he'd been suffocating, incapable of living alone. He wondered if it was a sin, or wrong, or if he might upset his wife up in heaven. He pauses a minute to let a smile spread across his face. I managed to find the right words, but he still wasn't sure, and said he'd come back to talk to me again. He stops. He died that night in his sleep. I think of him often. We don't always hear our calling. We avoided our own destiny. His expression freezes. He hesitates, opens his mouth, stops himself. Then, finally, you're right. Our stories are familiar, complementary. Thank you for sharing it with me. You've almost reached his destination. You notice your passenger has been keeping an eye on the dashboard clock. You park in front of the address he gave you and cut the motor. The passenger pays his fare and suddenly seems lighter, more at ease. Good luck. He gets out of the taxi and disappears into a nearby building. Nice. The door suddenly opens and a woman gets into the back seat. Having a good time? A good night? For a second, you freeze. It's one of the cops working at the judge's case. She grins at you. Her voice creaks. You remember seeing her at the hospital. Something already bothered you about her there. You know, it's actually pretty crazy. For weeks, I've been saying to myself there is something off about you, something not so nice. You dug around, mulled it over, bugged all my fellow cops about it, because I was sure you lied to us. Let her keep going. She has a cold sneer on her face. I'm going to be frank with you. She leans over to you. I don't think you're the judge. Nah. I just can't picture it. She squints, like she's trying to make you out from far away. Like you'd have gone to the extent of hurting yourself. Yeah, between us, it's a bit of a stretch. She stares at you. but not enough of a strength from my chief to stop going on and on about you. Seriously, he talks about you all the time. If I didn't know better, I'd think he had a crush on you. She smirks. No, I think he's more interested in your profile. In prison at 17, an icy chill fills your gut. And for murder, too. You open your mouth, but nothing comes out. Since you got out, you've kept a low profile, but you're lying about your name and your address. I checked. It's normal, you'd say. If they get words of your time served, no loan for your permit, no lease for your car, meaning no second chance at life. Her voice becomes softer, almost warm. I personally like guys who want a second chance. No, I like guys who fight for a second chance. Basically, I like guys who are willing to work for me. She leans forward, her shining, cat-like eyes narrowing. My chief wants to go to the prosecutor with a first and last name, with evidence. Actually, knowing him, is not so hot on evidence. So, I'll give you info. Victims, suspects, medical reports, some photos that are a bit... She makes a gagging noise. You have to be discreet. Keep it between you and me. Interrogate, ask questions, dig around. I've never done this. She shrugs. Don't worry. You're already keener than half the squad. And don't forget, I'm not asking you to make an arrest and deliver the killer wrapped up with a bow in front of the station, okay? You're no Batman. You're just here to get me more information. She rummages around in her pockets for what seems like forever. Here, take my card. I'll call you in 3-4 days, just to check in. We'll chat. And I'll let you know if I have any new info. She takes on a didactic, paternalistic tone. Paternalistic? Yeah, paternalistic tone. Like she was giving you a list of recommendations for the 100th time. Don't get caught. Don't get arrested. Also, I wouldn't recommend trying to leave Paris. I know what you look like and I know who your friends are. You can either be the solution or the problem, my friend. She takes a minute to scan your face, your emotions. If I have to, I'll go check in your you-know-who. Her smile is beating. That reminds me, she know you've done time. You shake your head. She snickers. Oh, my little dirtbag, you cover your tracks well. I did what I called. Yeah, if you say so. She sighs in a tired, exaggerated way. Don't try to mess with me, man. If things don't go well, I'll turn you in. I'll send you your pictures to all my friends in the media and every asshole in Paris. Your picture with your name on it, your real name. Anyone close to you will have their place searched. They'll be put under house arrest. Spend night in jails. You have any idea how tense things are with that fucker's trial underway? You sigh. You know just what she's trying to get at. Come to think of it, your last names are almost the same. You could be brothers, actually. I'm nothing like that son of a bitch. She smiles. Let me tell you, with that face of yours and your handle, they'll welcome you with open arms. She takes on a serious tone, businesslike. I want to catch this killer personally. I want to drag him to court, ruin his fucking life with a bang. I can't botch this case, you got me? And neither can you, right? Obviously. Well, great then. We see eyes to eyes. So you can just say you're my informant, my CI. He ripped open your gut. You saw your own insides. You were in a coma. Yeah, you have plenty of reasons to want to get back at him. She furrows her brow. Yeah, I think you're actually going to do that. To do what I tell you to do. You investigate, ask questions, listen to all the rumors, and you come up with a list of suspects. She lays her hand on the door handle and freezes. All right, and don't get fired. Without this cab, you're worth nothing to me. You glare at her. Fucking bitch. Yeah, whatever. If it makes you feel better. She put her hand up, and you can hear the word behind it. This conversation never happened. I'll make sure you get more intel tomorrow. I'll find a way. Until then, not a word to anyone, obviously. Not a word. The door opens, squeaks, and slams shut. You sit alone for a while, teeth clenched, dry hide, ears buzzing. Shit. On the back seat, the cop left a pile of papers. Shit. Key in the ignition, motor running. Radio on, crackles. You turn it off and start driving. Talking to passengers might unlock new documents and clues for your investigation. You will find them back at your studio after your shift. 6 clues discovered, available in your room. Alright? So far so good. I like this game. Oh, the shift is over already? Alright. You take a second to enjoy the silence of your studio apartment. Outside, the city is slowly waking up. You can still hear the hum of the taxi buzzing in your ears. You throw the files Bussett gave you on the table. On the wall, you hung up a big corkboard where you used to pin up photos of your nephews. They have been gone since you got out of. Your plan is simple. Jot down all the pieces of evidence and connect them to the suspect. The guilty party won't necessarily be the one with the most evidences against him, but the one with the most compelling evidences against them. It's like you're building a story about each suspect, trying to understand their motives, understand how he or she got into this situation. Steps in the hallway. They stop in front of your door, then move away. You take your shoes off before getting to work. Autopsy report, victim 3. Given by Bussett. Alright. Killer case. Picture of crime scene 3. Picture of crime scene 2. Autopsy report, victim 4. So, Piero Bataz. And Hervé Ryu. Okay, I don't yet understand how those things work, but I'm pretty sure once we will get more informations, we will know how to use it. With a heavy hand, you wipe your tired face. You pull open the sofa bed, which unfolds with an unpleasant creak. You collapse onto the mattress. The events of the day ran through your head. The streets, the passengers, their faces, their problems. Your brain is running at full speed, your body aches, and you are in pain. You can tell you need to get more sleep. You glance at your investigation board. It looks awfully empty. Tomorrow you'll have a chance to fill it up more. You shake your head and your mind wanders for a second. A second later, you're asleep. You open one eye. Your back aches. You would like to close your eyes.
I seek word of the Knights of Katerina. Fight by your side.
Blood Sands, thank you for the sub to Lulu. And hello, Blood Sands. Hope you're doing well. Thank you. Thanks a lot for the sub gift. How are you doing today? Your back aches. You'd like to close your eyes and go back to sleep. You get up quickly. And a few minutes later, you're outside of your studio. Night 2. Oh, I need to refuel. Okay. Okay, so I can refuel and... Oh, there is a lot of stuff to go. I guess it's for the investigation case that we can go to the high. No newspaper available. Listen to radio. Your fingers are poised in front of the car radio. You're trying to find something to listen to. Listen to music. You almost never listen to music in your cab, but you've preset 5 stations you'd like. Let's go to the jazz station. You fall right into a tune you often hear in this station, and one you love. It sounds like they are singing in Hebrew. A simple piano melody comes in as your drum beat grows slowly angrier. What sounds like a children's song makes off in the background. With a tap on the dial, you cut off the radio and let silence fill your cab. Okay. So, no music. Alright. Oh, a cat. Right. Oh, is he gonna pay? Crocky. Oh, it's not that far. It's fine. Let's drive the kitty. You pull up to the sidewalk and wait for your passenger. Since it looks like a no-show, you get out of the cab after a minute or two to smoke a cigarette. There is not much going on in this small town in the suburbs. There are a few apartments that still have lights on. A sweet scent hangs in the air. Eventually, you stub out your cigarette and get back into the car. You jump, startled. A cat has managed to slip into the cab. It's sitting on the back seat, staring at you intently. You sit there for a moment, considering whether or not to shoo it away. But just as you are about to wave your hand, the cat shifts positions and a slip of paper falls from its collar. I pick up the paper. You pick up a piece of paper and unfold it. A fragment of the map of Paris, the Saint-Lazare train station. You turn your eye slowly to the cat. It seems to be expecting an answer. Are you going somewhere? The cat tilts his head to the side, as if to say yes. You want to go to Saint-Lazare? The cat tilts his head again, Are you a dog? The cat slowly nods its head no. Your hands clutch the wheel tightly. What the hell is going on? You turn around to face the cat. Okay, fine. I'll take you. You let out a sigh. Okay, fine. You start talking to yourself in low tones, as if to balance the conversations. Normal. This is all perfectly normal. You start the cab, but cast a glance at the cat behind you. You're the one who ordered the cab? You start to laugh. A few minutes go by. You try to break the ice. Simple questions are probably best. Everything okay? Neither a yes or no. More of a plaintive mew. Are you running away from someone? The cat lets out a long, plaintive mew. Another cat. Your honor? Again, a long, melancholic mew. You nod your head. What happened? Was it a man? No answer. A woman? Was she mean to you? The cat seems to be uncertain. She was overly affectionate? The cat lets out a string of insistent mews. Touché! That's it. She is too affectionate. And that's why you are running away. The cat is watching you with a steady eye. You are sure you are on the right track. You have to be careful with people like that. They suffocate you before you even know it. You nod your head. But you run away. I meet lots of people like you. You stop short. But you are just a cat. You roll your eyes. Behind you, the cat lets out a quite reassuring mew. Meow. Well, what I mean is, well, we don't even know we are in a cage. We prefer not to think about it. We are fully aware of it. You look at the cat. I must be crazy that I'm talking to a... You shake your head. You point to a light in the distance. That's Saint-Lazare. We'll get there soon. A few yards later, you stop at the drop-off area in front of the station. The first train doesn't leave for another hour. Where are you going? The cat stares at you without making a noise. Let me guess. Saint-Lazare. If you were going to the suburbs of Paris, you would not have needed to come into town. So, somewhere in the northwest of France. Normandy? Somewhere by the sea, yeah? The cat is looking at you and mews. A sharp sound, probably a yes. A very hungry yes. For the fish, I guess. You check the time on the dashboard. It's time to go to get a real customer. You try not to think too much about the situation you're in, and you hope that no one sees you talking to a cat. I'll just start saying the names of cities, and you mew when I hit the right one. You start to list cities of Normandy. The cat doesn't move a muscle. Cherbourg? The cat looks up. So it's Cherbourg. Getting close. Saint-Malo? Still nothing. I've got it. Deauville. A mew of delight. You're smiling too. All of a sudden, you're exhausted. Okay, come on. Time to say goodbye. You get out of the cab and open the back door. A bill has appeared on the back seat of the cat, next to the cat. This is enough for the fare and more. Well, you are full of surprise, aren't you? I won't ask where it came from. You smile and lean over to pet the cat. It leaps out of the car and darts between your legs. You can just make out its shape dashing up a flight of stairs and slipping between the bars of a gate. You get back in the car. You look at yourself in the rear-view mirror. Your features are heavy with fatigue. Your right eyelid is twitching. As you start the car, you remember you are allergic to cats, but you haven't sneezed once. You pull out of the station. Oh, we got 3 cents of tip. Nice. Alright, I guess we can refuel. The passenger who entered your cab slams the door and stares at you intently. Where are you going? I don't know yet. Although the real question is, how can you help yourself? Do we know each other? She gives a sour laugh. Don't play innocent with me. If I were to say to you, her voice is slightly raspy, with an oddly metallic sound. October 27th. That's the date, the night of the attack. The night you... Could this woman be the judge? 10:46 p.m. No, the attack took place later. Does that ring a bell? You nod your head. Lulu. Yeah, but Blood haven't spoke yet. I think it just came by and left. I'm not sure. You nod your head. Yeah, it does, miss. Don't you miss me? Not another word. She waggles an accusing finger at you. Last October 27th. You were in this very cab, driving a fare, and you committed a crime. That's right, mister. That's right, sir. A crime. I'd spend a whole day working like an idiot for that rotten newspaper. Do you have any idea what I do for a living? Town crier? She leaves a sigh. Very funny. Absolutely hilarious. Thank you, Lulu. Her voice is increasingly aggressive. You can feel the anger bubbling inside her. I'm a sub-editor, Mr. Taxi Driver. I correct mistakes that a bunch of morons journalists make. There isn't a single one, not one, who knows how to write a proper sentence. I'd had it, really had it. And on the night of October 27th, you cut me off. Say nothing. I almost died that night. She grinds her teeth. You shred her. I crashed my car. My boyfriend's car. That's it. That is. The same guy who made yet another comment about women drivers. My neighbors called the police that night. I made such a scene. To think the guy dares call himself a feminist. She pauses for dramatic effect as a disturbing smile spreads over her face. And what does that have to do with anything? Everything! Her voice is suddenly noticeably quieter, almost fragile. The next day, no more boyfriend. No more car. I messed up a job interview with a major news outlet. A paper where people know how to write, where they follow basic rules of French grammar. Imagine for just a minute, I could have stopped correcting copy of a bunch of morons. She takes a deep breath. But all because of you, because of your cab. Everything changed the night of October 27th. A sad faraway look comes over her. My life has never been the same since. But her voice is bursting with fury and hatred. Forced to go live with my mother while I went apartment hunting with this rotten city where teeny studios can cost an arm and I lag. So I started looking for you. The back of your neck breaks into a sweat. You can feel cold, clammy droplets about to drip down your spine. I started asking around. I bribed one of your colleagues into giving me your number. A droplet of sweat starts sliding down your back. And I found your address. Your first one, that is. You shiver as the drop reaches your boxers. But that's your business. What matters is I did eventually get your other address, the real one. The droplet has reached your tailbone. You've started shaking. At first, I admit, I was planning on going to your place. She shrugs her shoulders. Her voice has softened a little. Just maybe to spit in your face or something like that. And then I threw to myself, no, Ludivine, maybe the guy deserves a chance. You never know. So you're going to apologize. Go on, give it your all. Take your time. Take a deep breath. She breathes in deeply, then exhales. Like that. I'm sorry, but I don't remember that night. Not memorable enough, huh? No, I've forgotten what happened that night. She freezes. A few minutes after I met you, I was attacked. Attacked by the judge, the serial killer. It's you. You survived. Yeah. A host of conflicting feelings flicker across her face. Doubt, surprise, anger, the desire to slap you. Then she falls back against the car seat. All the anger somehow gone. I didn't know. The police wanted to keep it all a secret. I didn't see the killer's face and he didn't see mine. For my own protection, for my peace of mind. The newspaper where I work, they're looking for you. We have a reporter looking for you. The last few months have been difficult for you, really difficult. Are you going somewhere? A faint smile is an nod. I'm good. This is what I suggest. I'm going to exit the cab. I'm going to go for a little walk in the cold to get my mind off things. And then, when I get home, I'll destroy all the information I have on you. Is that okay with you? You nod yes. Thank you. This word echoes for a minute through the taxi. Your passenger reaches for the door. The door opens, then closes. You're alone in the taxi, your head spinning slightly as if you'd had a drink. Just one, but something really strong. You briefly try to remember that night. Nothing. Nothing but a vague impression of something behind you, the killer's silhouette, a fleeting presence. You shake your head. There is nothing more than before. If only you had turned around, everything would have been easier. If you had seen the face of... All at once, you start the cab. I did not refuel yet. God damn it. You pull over and stop at the gas station. Not a soul inside. La belle pompe. The fluorescent light irritates your eye and the smell of pee is wafting up from the space in between the pumps. It's self-service here. You pay directly at the pump. The mini-mart over there, it must sell newspapers. The person behind the counter must see and hear things. Might be worth asking a couple questions. You don't quite know why, but Parisian gas stations are always frightening. You check out your surroundings before getting out of the taxi. Ooh, that's expensive. And we go to the shop. The clerk behind the counter is undoubtedly the most ordinary person you've ever seen. Clerk. Yes? Joyeux souvenir. Cache, cache, cache. Versailles. Oh. No go. I'm gonna buy the newspaper. This serial killer business is crazy. The clerk cuts you off, pointing at an angry fingers at the newspapers on display in front of him. Have you seen how much police suck at catching him? You smile. You let him keep talking. Good night, I guess. You nod and exit the shop. Alright. You get into your taxi and drive away. You park a few streets away from the Argentinian embassy. You wait there for your contact. You sigh. It seems so odd to have a contact, so excessive. The guy is one of our regular poker buddies, a night watchman at the embassy. You get out of your taxi and walk toward the big metal gate. Clean lines. Early 20th century, maybe lots of wrought iron. The gate opens and someone moves toward you. They indicate you should follow them. The person's face is hidden by an oversized hoodie. Your heart starts beating faster. What if it was? I follow. You walk into the narrow covered passageway, probably the entrance of a parking garage. The man turns around and lights up a cigarette. The lighter lights up his face for a second. A young man with curly hair, pale skin. He looks young, very young. That will be 2,250 euros. For the intel? Yeah, for the intel. He laughs. A strange guttural sound. What did you think it was? A date? You want information about Gorodischer? I got info on Gorodischer. And it costs you 250 euros, so... what will it be? Bargain. He raises his hand in front of his chest. His accent becomes stronger. No, it's 250 or nothing. If someone learns I fished around, they'll fire me on the spot. I don't pay. You see disappointment on the young man's face. Something's holding him back. Okay, listen. Give me 200 and we're good, okay? No. Your loss. The young man walks by you, almost shoving you aside, and keeps going. You hear the embassy door open and close with a heavy bang. A second later, you're back in your taxi. You shake your head in disappointment. You start the car and get back to your shift. So we should keep the things around to avoid using too much fuel. So I guess that lady could be it. I'm going to turn this. Alright, let's go. A beautiful woman climbs into your cab. There is something sensual and comforting about her. No, I just missed it. But don't worry, I'm taking a cab. Anyhow, I just wanted you to know. For a minute, You think she's talking to herself, but she leans over and whispers her address to you. I think he really enjoyed it today. As you start the cab, you notice a hand-free headset practically hidden by her thick head of hair. I'll message this fit tomorrow and I'll let you do the rest. A small laugh escapes her. Or the other way around, sure. And, Chris? It's normal to feel a little awkward at first, or uncomfortable. I mean, not knowing what to do. But you'll see. A couple more days and you'll get the hang of it. Anyhow, you should get to bed now. You need to keep up your strength. She stopped talking. Our phone call was over. She catches your eye in the rear mirror and bursts out flogging. You look shocked. It's none of my business. Well, actually, it is a little. Seeing I was rude enough to make a call in your cab. Just so everything perfectly clear, it wasn't a booty call. I was talking about my son. I've been taking care of him since his accident. I'm a nurse. His accident? That's right. He was supposed to meet his father for a rugby match. He was in a hurry. He tried past a truck on the right as he was leaving the highway. The driver didn't see him. Her voice trails off. I didn't know how to manage it. Not to die on the spot. That's really tough. And all that just to see a rugby match. Her smile is painful, full of life. I mean, ever since he was little, he tried to get him interested in soccer. And see what happened. A smile of dry amusement flickers across your passenger's face. Anyway, he's been in a coma for weeks now. Great too. Not a total vegetable, but not all that hearty either. So I had them move him to my place. Cruz and I are taking care of him now. Cruz? His fiancée. A lovely girl. Your passenger puts her hand to her mouth and smothers a giggle. Totally inhibited, but sweet. Very religious. She prays in Spanish at his bedside every night. They've been going out for 2 years now, and I still don't think She blushes. Well, you know, a brief silence. You find yourself trying to think of something to say. Or have you been holding up? Your passenger doesn't answer right away. You are afraid you've embarrassed her, but her face looks relaxed. I work in a palliative care, you know. I've spent the last 8 years of my life taking care of people who are going to die. The only question worth asking is how long before they die. It helps keep things in perspective. In my son's case, there's still hope. And at least I can help. I mean, I know how to do it anyhow. For one thing, there is the day-to-day stuff. Nails, hair, beard. It all grows like crazy. There's a lot of maintenance, like a gardener. Same for the teeth. We have to brush them every now and then. Because, believe me, if Titwan wakes up looking and smelling like a werewolf, we'll never hear the end of it. A smile escapes you. Your passenger sees it in the rearview mirror and is clearly pleased. But the biggest risk is not being able to move. Our bodies are meant to move. I know it's hard to believe when our alarm clock goes off, but it's true. Our blood circulation stops working correctly. Our skin gets cold, loses all the elasticity. So we have to message him as often as we can. And then there are the bed sores. Do you know what bed sores are? I think so. In the hospital, there are a lot of patients who are still conscious, who have bad sores. Their bodies are racked with pain. It's like being skinned alive. The worst part is, we have to change their bandages twice a day. Talk about brave. Working in the hospital is hard. The work is pretty depressing, but in Tituan's case, it's different. I don't have a choice. It has to be done. And actually, I'm happy. We can't talk to each other anymore. He doesn't even react when I touch him. So taking care of him is just my way of showing him I love him. That's a good thing, isn't it? Yes, it is. Pretty hard, eh? But that's how it goes. Your passenger shudders briefly. Okay, Patricia, enough of that depressing stuff. Let me tell you something funny. Earlier tonight, when Cruz and I were watching Tituan. Not exactly a pleasure cruise. My son is well over 6 feet tall, and Cruz is a cross between a matchstick and a Q-tip. So, I was managing as best I could, rolling him into one side and then the other. When she tries to help, the truth, it's pretty hard for her to take. It's all new to her. It can't be that much fun. So, she was muttering religious mumbo-jumbo to herself in Spanish, Dios mío and whatnot. And just... shut the fuck up. Hold on. Boom. Do not disturb. And offline. Hi. So, you got an enormous erection. Laugh. For once, you start to laugh. Your passenger joins in. The two of you enjoy a good long laugh. After a while, your passenger manages to catch her breath. A big old hard-on. How did Cruz react? First, she turned bright red, and then she pulled her shit up over him as fast as she could. Your passenger marks a short pause to emphasize what's coming. But it looked even worse. Just like Casper the Ghost. Pills of warm laughter fill the air. For a moment, you are happy, as if a weight has been lifted. You pull up to the address she has given you. You stop the cab and she hands you the fare. Thanks for the conversation. The ride went by really fast. She reaches for the door, then stops. You can sense she's really on edge. It's good to be able to talk. It's pretty unusual in Paris to meet someone who's so warm. Good luck. She shrugs automatically, as if she didn't understand what you meant. Same for you. She shuts the door carefully, then walks away. Your eyes follows her as she climbs the steps to the door of her building. A moment later, she's gone. As you start the cab, you catch sight of something on the back seat, a Kleenex. You wriggle around to pick it up. I read it. You unfold the handkerchief. You see the word Patricia and the phone number written inside. You look up at the building and smile. You notice a newspaper in the back seat. Your last passenger must have left it behind. Or the one before? You grab it and put it away. Could come in handy. But I bought one! You turn the key in the ignition and drive away. Yay, I got a tip! So we can go to this lady. Oh, there's Santa. You pull the newspaper out of your glove compartment and start leafing through it. Eventually, something grabs your eye. It's a quite involved article about the infamous Police Leaks affair. who, why, and how all that confidential data was released to the public. The Justice Department is now looking at corrupt and violent cops who are known to be out of line. Concerned associations upload how transparent they are being. Yet, the more you read, the more you get the impression the journalist does not agree with their method. You turn the page and stop. You read about a third of the newspaper. I'll keep reading. You stop reading and go back a few pages. You saw something. It's a short article mentioning the strike led by a handful of employees of Confiserie du Marais, a luxury candy brand. The employees demand better wages. The owners, the group Diamant, are threatening to relocate their factories abroad. You only have a third left to read. Read the whole thing. As soon as you get to the page, you stop. Your instinct tells you to look up. It's a rather positive critique of a bar called Slowly Less. You make note of an information with interest. In your line of work, that kind of thing can always come in handy. You shut the paper. It will end up in the trash tonight. If you remember it's there, otherwise it will spend the rest of its days in the glove compartment. Ooh, that's far. Boulevard, I'm headed to Charles de Gaulle Airport. Sure, let's go. Your next passenger is alone and waiting for you on the sidewalk. She gets in the cab and whispers, "Hello?" She has no handbag or suitcase, just a small handbag sign with an Indian name printed on it. "Charles de Gaulle, please." She's young, with a soft and slight accent. Her face shows no emotion. Her finger plays with a small gold chain around her neck. It is the only piece of jewelry she has on. You drive, glancing back at her from time to time. Her head seems to be elsewhere. "Everything all right, miss?" She nods her head gently, cracking a tiny smile. "It's really early. The first plane to come in are the worst. Everyone is exhausted and half asleep." "Yeah, exactly, and..." She sighs. "I must confess, I don't really want to go there." A tiny smile lights her face up for a split second before disappearing. "Ah, family?" "My future husband. Well, future, I've never even met him." Her accent suddenly becomes stronger. "You know this habit well. Just before confiding in you, passengers tend to relax into their natural accent. I'm sure he's a great guy, as they say here." Sadness appears in her voice. "But I don't know him at all. My parents chose him. It's crazy, isn't it? Are you shocked?" "Yeah." A sad smile washes briefly over her face. "It's tradition. Or at least it used to be. My parents are a bit old school, even by current standards in India. I chose to study here and not in England like my sisters." She flashes a smile. "I fell in love with Paris and decided to stay. I almost never go home. Actually, this is home now. Anyway, my parents insist on I meet him. He decided to make the trip, saying he had a meeting as a pretext." "It's unacceptable." "No, you don't understand. This is just how things are. And I knew it would happen one day. They've been talking about it for ages. I try to avoid the subject. It's understandable from their perspective. I mean, it worked for them, right? You sense something bubbling up, anger, before she freezes. Some people refuse to let their emotions out. She slowly regains control of her body. What day trips would you recommend outside Paris? Nearby? She nods. Versailles, of course. It's very beautiful. Definitely worth it. Her face lights up. Oh, yes, perfect. I'm sure you'll like it. You'll like that. Or there is Fontainebleau. There's a huge park, very wild. If he likes hiking. I don't really know. She smiles shyly. You prefer to say nothing. The airport is not much further. Something about the young woman makes you feel uncomfortable. She looks as if she was about to scream but is holding it in. Time passes and silence fills the cab. Which terminal? Your question startles her. Terminal C. 2C, I think. It's supposed to be a nice day out today. A smile crosses her face, then quickly disappears. Yeah, I hope so. Thank you. You park the car in front of the Terminal 2C. Your passenger grabs her sign and exits the cab. She pauses for a second, as if she were about to say something. Then she disappears. They look angry. So, how do you like the game so far, people? Like Lulu, Don't Chafe, Plot? I personally like it, but it's very tiring to always speak for the dialogues. Okay, I guess we can go to... well, we don't have much people anyway. I'd like to head home, but we don't seem to be able to. So I'll just go there and help that guy. He looks suspicious though. Very hungry. Shinji Kurumada Airport. Okay, fine. Doesn't seem very nice. Your next passenger is waiting on the sidewalk with an enormous suitcase next to him. You get out of the cab, pick up the suitcase, which must weigh 45 kilos at the very least, and put it on the trunk. You get in touch... wait, I just wrote that. You get back in with your passenger closed on your heels. The door slams shut. You turn the key in the ignition and look up at your passenger. Charles de Gaulle, right? He nods and you start driving. It's still pretty early to be getting on a plane. He must be the type that likes to get there well ahead of time. Japanese? Chinese? You're not sure. You smile. Tourists always have such a magical image of Paris. There's almost no traffic and you're able to drive at a decent speed. Behind you, in the rearview mirror, you can see the tip of the Eiffel Tower starts to appear. Look who's saying goodbye. He narrows his eyes. He doesn't understand. You point to the Eiffel Tower behind you. Eiffel Tower. He smirks. Shinji! Oh, Shinji is his name. Something in Japanese. His tone leads you to believe he thinks it's ugly. You don't like it? Oh. He keeps staring at you with an annoyed expression. He obviously doesn't understand. Something in Japanese? His voice is frank, with a dose of exhaustion. Something in Japanese again. Something in Japanese. Japanese again. Okay, Japanese. You're sure now? He imitates the sound of a plane taking off. You think you may have recognized the name of the airport. Airport. I wonder if we can translate what's written. Airport. He nods. That's weird. He turns away so vehemently, you understand he wants to be left in peace. He wants calm and silence. You hear him mumbling to himself. His voice is deep and heavy. I wonder what it says, though. He takes a short pause and swallows his spit. The tone of his voice makes you think he's making a list of all the things he hated. He mumbles on and on. Keeps talking Japanese. I don't understand. Dude. He has made that sound before. Third time. You immediately recognize the word. Versailles? Versailles. He bursts out laughing. He glances at you. You don't understand. You get the impression he wants you to repeat what he's saying. Repeat. He nods. He falls back into his seat, his eyes closed. He doesn't want to speak to you anymore. You've had passengers who didn't speak any French before, but this one seems furious. Maybe he didn't like Paris. Maybe he prefers Tokyo? You smile. For just a second, you imagine yourself as a taxi driver in Tokyo. Businessmen, well-dressed high schoolers, those Japanese mobsters. What are they called again? What do you call the Japanese mafia again? He doesn't budge, but lets out a groan. Mafia? Groan. You recognize the word. Yes, mafia. A minute goes by. It sits up. Yakuza! That's it. He stares at you. Yakuza, exactly! He starts laughing. Slowly at first, then quite loudly. He shuts his eyes again. You keep driving. You think about the movie you saw during the hospital stay. A black American soldier on the run who starts hanging out with some sort of bum who was a huge jazz fan. It was a singular movie, incredible. It made the real impression on you. The title was... No, you can't remember the title. And how could you possibly describe it to the passenger? Impossible. What a shame you can't speak his language. What a shame not to understand him. Not to be able to talk to him about it. You sigh. Maybe later you'll have time to learn Japanese. It's probably hard. Not the same alphabet, not the same letters. But then again, your parents could read in Arabic and write in French. So you could too. Yes, later. You'll have time. And then, here you are at the airport. A heap of ramps and tunnels bring you to the drop-off zone. You pull to a stop and your client wakes up. He notices the airport, a few taxis, your own fatigue. He starts talking peacefully in a soft voice. He shakes his head. Okay. He paces far, with a twinge of shame. You get out of the taxi and help him get his suitcase out of the trunk. It weighs a ton. He thanks you, with a sad look of defeat. He grabs into your sleeves as you try to get back in your car. You nod very slowly. Me too? I do not understand. I don't know what to do. Should I say me too? No thank you? Or I do not understand? Me too. He looks you over slowly, from head to toe. When he starts speaking again, his voice is monotone and completely void of emotion. Something inside you resonates, like you understood what he just said. He lost someone. His wife, maybe. He looks upset. He shakes his head. He should have come with someone. If only you could understand him. He bows. Then he straightens up. His eyes are misty. You don't know why, but it seems normal to reply. You're welcome. He walks away with his huge suitcase. When he's almost at the doors, he stops and turns around. You practically jump. He just said the word, Yakuza! Yakuza! He bursts out flagging. He walks into the airport. The sliding glass door closes behind him. You start to realize the airport is waking up all around you. A woman who must have been a Viking in another life is pushing a floor waxer across the tiles of the high entryway, just below the heating vent. A fellow driver waves as he's leaving the drop-off zone. A plane, maybe the first one of the day, appears in the sky. You get back in the taxi. For a minute, you rub your freezing hands together to warm them up. Just a few seconds before driving off. Noise. You now know more about your clients. Check the Pasidex menu for more information. Oh, so the night's over. Alright. Whoa, I made losers? Holy shit. You confessed to Ludovine you were one of the killer's victims. You have met Patricia. Patricia gave you her number. You got her number. Yeah, I know. You have met Purva. Okay, so the second night is over. At the foot of your front door, just behind the drain pipe, you notice an envelope. It's thick and heavy. You can just make out your name written in thick black marker in the front. Your real name. You take a deep breath and go inside. In the envelope, you find more information, just as Bussett promised. 4 clues discovered. You lay them on the table. You take a few minutes to update your board with the new clues. A buzz goes by, making the walls shake. It's time to get moving in your investigation. Not enough time, okay. Alright then. Then if we don't have time to read the things, we should end the night. With a heavy hand, you wipe your tired face. You slowly open the sofa bed and lie down. The events of the day run through your head. The streets, the passenger, they face their problems. Your brain is running at full speed, your body aches and you are in pain. You can tell you need to get more sleep. You glance at your investigation board. You hope to find more information tonight, even as soon as you wake up. You shake your head and your mind wanders for a second. A smile forms on your lips. You just threw about the Japanese tourist. You imagine the joy on his face when he got home and rediscovered the sound and smells of his country. Like you, when you will come back from France at the end of the summer. A second later, you're asleep. You open an eye. You stretch slowly. It's already night time out. You get up quickly. And a few minutes later, you're outside of your studio. Night 3. Okay, I think I may take a small break. Like, stop the stream and come back a few hours later. I'm not sure. That game is very nice, but it's quite difficult to play it a long time because I need to read the things, and it doesn't feel like it's very interesting for the stream. Like, you don't speak at all, so maybe it's not your kind of game. I don't really know. So I will just take a break of like 1-2 hours to eat and stuff like that, and then I will be back. I don't know yet what game, or maybe programming, who knows. But yeah, it's actually a very nice game. I don't know if I can save. Back to menu? Yes, I can. Perfect. And yeah, thank you for watching the first episode of Night Call. I will definitely continue to play that game. It's actually very nice. See you later, alligator. And yeah, see you after. Bye everyone. Love you. And licks.